Hello and welcome. Today I will be giving you a bit of an update on the organ project, but specifically we'll start with the console. Now this is the console, this is where the performer sits. Now this console came out of St. Mark's Church in Remuera, Auckland. It's not the console that came from the pipes, and the reason for that is that this console was, number one, available, number two, not all that expensive, but also a lot newer, and it has more stops and sort of therefore more flexibility than the console that did come attached to the pipes that I had. So it means that I've got the ability to make changes with stops and so forth, and it also means that the mechanical components here are, 10, 15 years newer, which is all a plus. Unfortunately, all of the control system that this console used is completely obsolete. So I had to buy and install and rewire pretty much everything here. And so I have I've invested in a system from Uniflex, and I'll show you what the back of the console looks like and all the new wiring. Essentially, what we have here is a 3-manual console. Each of these keyboards is called a manual. There's a smaller, less keys but physically larger set of pedals that you play with your feet. Under each keyboard we have a bunch of thumb pistons, and what these do is move the draw stops that we have, and so the player playing along, they can individually pull out stops to make certain ranks of pipes go on and off, or you can select combinations by pressing these keys. These ones here, these thumb pistons, are for general combinations. There's a cancel button which turns most of them off. There's one or two that don't turn off because I need to, there's something loose in the wiring. But over here we have some reversibles. So for instance, this one here, all this button does is take this one here and reverse whatever state it's in. If it's on, it turns it off. If it's off, it turns it on. Each of these 3 manuals has a different name. The one in the middle is called the Great. The one at the top is called the Swell. And these, if you have just a 2-manual pipe organ, these are the 2 that you have. You have the Great at the bottom and you have the Swell at the top. On the bottom we have one that, according to the St. Mark's console, was called a Positive or a Positive, however you want to pronounce that. However, on the original organ, the pipes that I have, it was called a Choir. So the bottom one can sort of change name depending on the organ builder and how they deliver that, the pipes that are attached to it. If you were to have 4 manuals, the 4th one could be called a Solo, it could be called an Echo, or it could be called something else depending again on the way that the pipes are configured. However, right now, because the only division of pipes that I have set up belongs to the Swell division, what I end up doing when I'm just fiddling around here is I pull out the stop here, which makes all of these pipes available down here, so I can actually do something without having to stretch my arms because I am very, very old. So I'll take you around to the back and I'll show you what the wiring looks like. It is, as you can see, a bit of a mess. One of the benefits of the Uniflex system is that there are only 3 different types of boards. You have the main control board up here. You have these boards here, which are input boards. They take signals from something. So this is, for instance, the back of the Swell keyboard, and so the 61 notes corresponding to 61 contacts come up and get connected to the input boards, and then there are output boards which take a signal and they output that signal through to something. So for instance, all of these are outputs that control the stops, the physical sliders that you pull in and out, and then these ones here, these all go off to various pipes that I've got. So there are going to be more outputs when I have more of the organ up and running, but and obviously there will be further work done to refine the neatness and tidiness of the arrangement, but it all physically works. Now all of the logic and the brains and connecting the inputs to the outputs, that's all done by a computer. So unlike standalone systems where you might have to have everything physically wired together, this system uses a computer as the brains for the operation. Now that's both a positive and a negative depending where you, how you look at it. The big positive is that it gives you a huge amount of flexibility to make changes without having to get out a soldering iron and to switch things around. Once you've got all of the inputs are wired in and you've got all of the outputs wired, then everything else is just configuration on a computer. It makes it quite flexible. So this is what the console looks like at the moment as of early February 2023. The next video will be on some of the pipework. Thank you very much for watching.